Hi guys, this is Zeyad Cred. I'm one of the organisers for the Grenfell Silent Walk. It's been a tough couple of years to say the least. Unfortunately, we haven't always been able to meet regularly or as regularly as we used to. Coming from a committee point of view and the people that help me organise the silent walks that take place monthly, we've made the formal decision to now narrow it down to 2 walks a year. That being the anniversary walk in June and the walk that we would do in December as well. So my message here is today to mention that we will be walking on the 14th of December 2021. We'll be meeting from 6 p.m. at the Kensington Town Hall, and it's important to show those involved and those responsible for everything that happened at Grenfell that regardless of the amount of time we've been away from each other, we are still here and we are still pushing for the right cause. So I ask you all to come and join us at 6 p.m. for a 6:30 start to walk from the Town Hall all the way down to Grenfell Tower itself where the walk will end. I think my main message is just to let everyone know that behind the scenes people have still been working, dedicating a lot of time, a lot of effort into making sure that the name Grenfell lives on forever and that those responsible are eventually held accountable. But it's come to that stage again where we need your support and we need you to join us in the numbers to show those, especially those at the Town Hall, that this community hasn't just disappeared and we are back together as one, and we are going to mark it, as I said, on December the 14th, 2021 from the Town Hall. The next official silent walk will then take place on June the 14th, 2022. Now we're not shying away from encouraging people to mark the day of the 14th during the month in other ways and to come together between groups and between families to remember the loved ones and remember the community members that were lost that day. But from a silent walk perspective, we're aiming to be big and to be seen and to be visually present during these 2 walks rather than scatter them across throughout the year. But it's very important we do come out in numbers and we come out together unified as one to make sure that we do get justice for Grenfell.
So we were approached by Almanar just before the first year memorial and asked if we would create a mosaic with the local community. And initially it was, if you know the mosaic at the base of the tower, it was the circular piece, the centre of the flower. And that was to be unveiled for the first year memorial. And with conversations with Ismahan from Almanar, we decided that it would be really neat to extend that to the wider community and to do it over a period of 12 months. So, and that's how it all began really. We worked with the local community groups that were involved in the aftermath of the fire. And each month a different community group made a petal for the flower, and that was added on the 14th of each month to mark the time. And they also chose the word that they wanted in the petal as well, so something that they felt resonated with the community or with their particular community group. So we've got words like love, hope, change, forever, solidarity, and then that was completed in time for the second year memorial. But as time went on, you know how these things grow, other community groups came to us and said that they would really like to be involved. And so we managed to extend the project for another 2 years. So that was phase 2 of the project. So that's the 24 leaves that you see that are running across the top of the hoarding. And they were made with other community groups and also all of the local primary schools and and KAA as well. And again, that was the same thing. It followed the same pattern where it was installed on the 14th of each month. It went a little bit kind of skew-whiff during the pandemic because obviously there was quite a lot of stopping and starting with society. But we did manage to complete that in time for the 4-year memorial. And each one of those leaves has got 72 gold flecks in it. And we always had this idea about languages and thinking about the languages that were spoken in the tower. And Ismahan and I really wanted to try and find a way to incorporate those languages. And again, through conversation with local people and the artists, Tomo and Emily, who've been delivering this project since the beginning, we came up with this idea of memorialising the Silent Walk, I suppose, and incorporating the community languages that were spoken in the tower into these stepping stones. And each stepping stone says justice in one of the community languages that were spoken in the tower. So we started the last phase, which is phase 3 of the project, in September. And as you can see here, we've got a completed stepping stone there. That's going to be inserted into a bespoke milled paving slab. They haven't arrived yet, but they're on their way. And then that will obviously be grouted, so it'll look really seamless. And then that's going to be installed at intervals along the route of the Silent Walk in the pavement. And each stepping stone has a hand-drawn green heart that is drawn by the person who's making the stepping stone, fabricating the stepping stone. And again, we kept with the 72 gold flecks, because we feel like that's, I don't know, people really connect with that idea of having the gold flecks in the mosaics. We're running the workshops twice a week, on a Thursday evening, 6 till 8:30, and on a Saturday morning, 10 till 12:30. We would really love it if people sign up for like 3 sessions so that they can maybe complete the whole of the stepping stone, and I suppose have ownership over that stepping stone, if you like, although maybe that's the wrong word for a community project. But I just think it would be really lovely if you've kind of contributed to making one of these inlays, these mosaic inlays, that you see it in the street in Ladbroke Grove and you're like, wow, I contributed to that, I made that. In the new year, we're going to be changing the timetable slightly, and we're going to be running the workshops on a Tuesday morning from 10 o'clock, and we're going to keep with the Thursday evenings as well. We are running those until the end of the spring term, and then after that we're inviting people back to help inlay them into the paving slabs and grout them. And then we will be working with the council to get them installed along the route of the Silent Walk in time for the 5-year memorial.
For me, memorial has been a huge part of ensuring that the love and sorrow for the 72 have been kept alive. So I've supported the Grenfell Commission work, where they are liaising with families, bereaved survivors, North Kensington residents, to gather their ideas about what, and the hopes and aspirations for what they'd like to see as a permanent memorial. And in order for the Commission members, who are bereaved survivors and Lancaster West residents, to be able to properly and comfortably talk with parents, I volunteered to run children's activities so that the parents could know that we're DBS, me and my friends are DBS, and we run safe activities for children to come and create their own memorials. So I brought an example that's started but not finished, because I've got to take it back to the child who started it next time, where children create their own little heart memorials. But I also invited one of my North Kensington fellow residents who I've worked with before, Paprika Scala, who created the Grenfell Heart ceramic hearts. And she set this up in 2019, prior to COVID, and ran a few workshops, and at the end of the workshops, free, totally free, and believe me, it's very expensive, totally free, and the hearts that were made in that first one, she then installed opposite Ladbroke Grove tube station. Since that time, it's grown massively, because throughout the summer this year, she did various workshops, and basically this is what started as the big green circle with the hearts on it opposite the tube station. The installation, when you look at it, has grown and grown and grown, is encroaching all the way across the wall. The latest thing has been that we've had 2 workshops over the half term making these ceramic hearts that are going to be installed as a permanent memorial in All Saints Church, Power Square. To do, again, anything that's artistic, where you can put your love into memorialising the 72 is just so special. And so anybody who's ever seen the Silent Walk videos or been on the Silent Walk with the big green hearts, they're all made from Henry Dickens, and it stemmed from the wonderful person Sophie Lodge, who runs 24 Hearts, who came up with amongst children the fact that the green hearts would be then symbolic of the remembering the fire victims. And yeah, so we make those hearts on a regular basis, and it's another space where we can gather and remember and get some solace from the oppression of what goes on around us. For those of us who've never lost the passion since that fire happened, we can't forget about the horrific loss that night. We cannot ever allow ourselves to forget that corporate greed allowed this to happen, that the government failed. I think the government needs to wake up. It's absolutely a time to wake up. You have failed dismally in many areas, but you have failed the 72. Inane promises were made by Theresa May in the wake of the fire, and Grenfell United's campaign is truth, justice, and now it was just changed, now they've changed it to systemic change. And the systemic change comes in the legislation changes that will stop these awful, greedy manufacturing companies and building developers using materials that are effectively going to kill people. People are going bankrupt. There's been suicides because people are trapped in these homes that should never have been built using these materials. And why were they allowed? Because the government has 30% donations. So they don't want to upset their donators. Legislation has to change to make housing safe for everyone, whether you're a purchaser, a leaseholder, or a freeholder, or a tenant. Buildings have to be safe. That's a human right. And there's no protection at the moment on our human rights to live in decent homes. So yeah, legislation has to change, and we want arrests. But with the Silent Walk, it doesn't matter who you are or where you've come from. People come from far and wide. People come from the local community. It's a time when we walk together as one, which is what we were in the immediate aftermath of the fire. We walked as one, we acted as one, and the Silent Walk brings that back. And it also gives you the time to really focus on what we lost, on the people that we lost, the 72 that are no longer here. So it's hugely, hugely significant for everybody to come together as one and walk and remember and hold them forever in our hearts.